Many thanks, and I'd now like to give the floor to Mr. Kamara for his presentation. And again, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to this Council. I bring you warm greetings from Africa and from Sierra Leone. But I want to start with a quote from Ida B. Wells, who once said that the way to right wrongs is to turn the light of truth upon them. Mr. Vice President, one of the many efforts of the reparatory justice movement globally is to illuminate the truth about Africans and about how Africans and people of African descent have been grossly and unjustly wronged for generations. It is also our aim to inform this Council that the imperative for reparatory justice has never been more pronounced. We therefore welcome the High Commissioner's report and support the recommendations wholeheartedly. We call on Member States to take the recommendations seriously and act on them urgently. Mr. Vice President, the discourse around reparations for historical crimes have emerged from the corridors into the mainstream. We are witnessing a global reckoning that will determine what could be the biggest human rights issue for the next century. So as an advocate, I'm encouraged by the High Commissioner's focus on reparatory justice for this session's report. I'm also encouraged by the High Commissioner's acknowledgement of the importance of education in reforming false historical narratives about Africans and people of African descent. This is why my organization, Reform Initiatives, is calling for reparatory justice education to replace human rights education. We believe that reparatory justice education is the pathway for addressing the lack of knowledge about the slave trade, colonialism, and their legacies. Mr. Vice President, we believe that for there to be genuine global equity, discussions and processes around reform of the current global systems and structures must take a reparatory justice lens. This means there should be no pussyfooting around when it comes to repairing systems that we all know require restructuring. We also believe that there can be no climate justice, nor environmental justice, nor economic justice if there is no reparatory justice, and vice versa. We therefore agree with the High Commissioner's report that reparatory justice is multisectoral, multi-layered, and multifaceted. This is why, as a movement, we support healing as a key component of the reparations process, because reparations without interracial and intra-racial healing is incomplete and is a recipe for trauma in perpetuity. Your Excellencies, we acknowledge the increased role being played by the African Union, and we fully support the AU's decision to declare 2026 to 2036 as the decade of reparations and justice. We urge the European Union to similarly declare this same period as the decade of reckoning and repair. We also commend the AU's decision to establish a transcontinental partnership framework between the African Union, CARICOM, and Latin American states. In addition, we commend the AU's decision to amplify the voices of the most affected communities in the reparatory justice advocacy efforts. I therefore call on Member States to ensure that political and high-level discussions on reparations be accompanied by tangible actions that demonstrate genuine equity through fair representation and marginalized voices. As I conclude, I call on Member States to collaborate with civil society working on reparatory justice. Member States can establish national reparations secretariats and convene national, sub-regional, and international conferences on reparations. I also call on former colonial powers and those who profited and benefited from the enslavement of Africans to acknowledge their wrongdoings and make meaningful apologies for their crimes. They must undertake systemic and concrete measures geared towards racial repair, intersectional justice, and global equity. I thank you.
Je vous remercie.